Welcome back to BreslovCampus, Insights in the Parsha of the Week, Parshat Terumah. An amazing parsha explaining the parts of the Tabernacle, the Mishkan. The Mishkan, as we know, the Tabernacle, was like a traveling Beit HaMikdash. You had the Holy Temple standing in Jerusalem, and the Tabernacle that the Jews erected in the desert was like a miniature traveling Holy Temple. And it's phenomenal, because it was erected in a place which was a desert, a place which was uninhabited, dead, maybe snakes and scorpions, and that's it. And yet, once that tabernacle was erected in the desert, it transformed that place to be a beacon of the light of God, a revelation of God at the highest of levels in the middle of nowhere, to the extent that when the command came for the Jews to dismantle the tabernacle and now to continue traveling to get to the Holy Land, so once they dismantled the tabernacle and moved forward, anybody can set foot and set forth to walk on that exact spot that the tabernacle once was there, and there's no kedusha, there's no revealed holiness like there was at the time of that the tabernacle was erected on that same spot. It's regular land, and in this sense, it's phenomenal. Rebbe Nachman explains that the whole idea of the Holy Temple and the extension of the tabernacle is to reveal the holiness of the Holy Land. In the Beit HaMikdash, just to explain this idea, in the Holy Temple that stood in Yerushalayim, you had items which show what are the benefits of the Holy Land. So for example, you had the menorah. Menorah is light, and that Eretz Yisrael, the Holy Land, shines light to the entire world, shines light to the people who have the merit of living in Eretz Yisrael. The showbread, the lechem hapanim, shows that all blessings, all abundance in the world is due to the Holy Land. Like we say in Birkat HaMazon, in the blessing, the grace after meals, we thank Hashem for the Holy Land. We don't say, right, you eat and be satisfied, and then you give thanks to the good land that Hashem gave to you. You don't say, Rebbe Nachman asks, you shouldn't say, and give thanks for the food that you gave to me? How come Hashem commands us, orders us to give thanks over the Holy Land? Because it's through the Holy Land that we have this food. Any food in the world that people eat, have nourishment, is due to the holiness of the Holy Land, and that was reflected in that there was the showbread, the lechem hapanim, in the Holy Temple, showing that all sustenance also comes from the Holy Land, from the temple, showing that it's reflecting what's the light of the Holy Land. And then also you had the Ark, the Holy Ark, which contained within it the tablets, the broken tablets, the second tablets also, and the first original Sefer Torah that Moshe Rabbeinu wrote. In other words, the main embodiment of the Torah was there, because also the Shams comes to show that the light, the air, the strength of the Holy Land is also to give Torah. Like many verses say, for example, Ki mitzion tetzeh Torah udvar Hashem Yerushalayim. From Tzion, from Zion will come out Torah, and the word of God from Yerushalayim. And also, like the sages teach, Avira de Eretz Yisrael machkim, the air of the Holy Land makes a person wise. So the Holy Temple that stood and had these items is coming to show the benefits of the Holy Land. It's all concentrated in the Holy Temple, and that is the goal of the Holy Temple, to shine to the world the holiness of the Holy Land. Now this was on a revealed level. That's why the Holy Temple was built in a very open way. There was no roof over it, there was no covering. And even today that the Holy Temple has been destroyed, it's so etched in the place where it once stood that it maintains the same level of holiness that we can't even set foot there even till today, until Mashiach comes and the third temple is built, and also the red heifer comes along and we're purified, then we can go and set foot there. So this is the idea of the temple in Yerushalayim. The traveling tabernacle was covered up totally, in the idea that the mission, the goal of the tabernacle, having also a menorah, a light, having also showbread, parnasa, sustenance, food, having also an ark, the Torah, but it was in a sense to reveal for a split second, for a time, for a temporary span of time, the holiness of the Holy Land, even in a desert where there's nothing. The idea that in a place where there's only impurity, which is like the diaspora, for example, and a concealment of godliness, of the light of the menorah, for example, light, of sustenance, of wisdom, and to make revealed even from something so covered up, holiness. That was the job of the tabernacle. That's why the tabernacle in Hebrew is called the Mishkan, and the holy temple is called the Mikdash. Mikdash means it's sanctified, it's fixed. And the Mishkan means dwelling. We're bringing the divine presence to dwell. But it's a temporary dwelling, because until finally the Mashiach comes and the third temple will be built, we cannot reveal the holiness of the Holy Land, which is found in the whole world. Like, for example, Rashi explains on his commentary to the Song of Songs that when Mashiach comes, Jerusalem will reach all the way up to Damascus in Syria. All of Israel will become Jerusalem, and the entire world will become the Holy Land. So meaning, hidden in the diaspora now is a holiness of the Holy Land, but it's totally covered up until finally Mashiach comes. So what the Mishkan did in the desert, it in a temporary format, it brings the dwelling presence of God to reveal in that spot, even in the desert, the holiness specifically of the Holy Land. Like we said, the menorah shining the light of Eretz Yisrael, the food, the lechem apanim, the showbread, and the ark. But it was in a temporary format. And that's why also the Mishkan was covered up. Because in order to do this, to enable and enact and activate the holiness of the Holy Land in the diaspora, you have to do a lot of constrictions, a lot of covering up, in order that in the meantime negative influence of diaspora shouldn't recover it up again. So we have to cover up the tabernacle, and in that was revealed the light of the menorah, the showbread, and the ark, revealing the light of the Holy Land. And this is the lesson of the tabernacle, the Mishkan, that a Jew can transform a desert. Rebbe Nachman teaches this point, that a Jew, anywhere they stand in the world, they can activate the holiness of the Holy Land wherever they are, and bring the light of the Holy Land, even though temporarily, but at least to bring it to them wherever they are. This is also hinted to in the words of the sages, explaining the verse from Yechezkel, V'asuli mikdash, right? Mikdash me'at. That the Jewish people spread out in the diaspora, they have miniature temples, if you want to say miniature holy temples wherever they are. These are the Torah study halls and the synagogues throughout the diaspora. They have in their inside, a quality of the Holy Land, of the holiness of the Holy Land. So this is an example how a Jew can transform even a diaspora into a level of the Holy Land. And this is one of the messages of the idea of the tabernacle, specifically in the desert.